Good evening. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and thank you for joining me on this edition of Technology Access Television. Well, today we're talking a little bit of exploration into the cloud. Yes, this is certainly the technology that's captured everyone's imagination, but there's more to the cloud than you might suspect. A lot of people want to know, well, where is this cloud anyway? But it's really not about a place, it's about delivering IT value in unique ways that make it cost effective from small to large business. And that's what's really revolutionized the landscape of IT as we know it. For those of us that have been around the IT space for a while, we're just kind of laughing. It seems like it's kind of back to the future, back to some of the main core ways technology has always been used, but it's all about value through applications. It's the software that applies to what people are trying to do. And in many ways, both small and large organizations, be they small businesses or nonprofits or large institutions, all have the similar kind of need to manage data effectively and not be caught up in the iron in the infrastructure that sometimes has been a prohibiting factor to leveraging the assets of what technology can do. And today, my guests have a lot of experience in this area. They have started a company that maybe started small, like so many small businesses, but now they're doing work for both small and large firms around the application of cloud products and solutions. My guests today are from Global Tech and Resources. In fact, we have the founder of Global Tech and Resources, Velu Palani. Thank you for joining me, Velu.
You're welcome.
All right, and I have a friend, Charlie Havens, who's also a new addition to Global Tech and Resources, but he and I go way back, and he's out here doing consulting in the cloud as well. Charlie, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's good to see you again.
Well, when I reached out to you, I wanted to have a conversation because one of the applications that I don't know, maybe personifies what cloud is all about is this application called Salesforce. Salesforce has really ridden the wave of the acceptance of cloud in both small and medium-sized enterprises, and you had a little experience even in nonprofits using Salesforce. Charlie, why don't you tell us what is Salesforce.com?
Well, it's a company that started out trying to make the user experience easier and build that user experience on top of a very, very powerful engine. I started out coming to technology through the Mac system, and I was not a tech person. I was doing real estate, and I wanted a computer system that wasn't breaking on me, and I didn't need to become a tech person. My consultant told me, if you don't want to pay me so much, go get a Mac. and so I got Macs into my business, and just as that grew and became a user interface on top of a very powerful tested system, Unix, Salesforce took a very powerful tested system and built a user interface that was easy for people to use and easy to develop on. And the development starts out declaratively rather than programmatically. So that allows very fast development because you can go a long ways before you have to start using programming and coding to extend it.
It's very exciting because as is the name of Salesforce, Salesforce.com, most people experience it by going to Salesforce.com and establishing an account, but also the credentials or the ticker symbol for Salesforce is CRM.
Right.
And they are most known for creating a sales management system, a database, specifically that helps salespeople. Now, me being an old sales guy, I was always, I've been in computer business all the time, but I didn't come into computer business from coding and technology. I came from marketing and sales. And the way I ended up getting in the industry was I said, I know these people know a whole lot about engineering, but I bet they don't know that much about marketing and sales. And I was more correct than I thought, although these guys have become pretty good at selling things as the products became more consumer friendly. It wasn't that consumer friendly back in mainframe days. And
Yes.
That's when both of us matriculated from. How did a mainframe guy end up in the consulting side of things?
That's a very good question. There is no specific path. I would say it was an accident.
Okay.
So I was on the mainframe, and so for about 10 years on the client server. Then I said, okay, maybe enough of doing consulting work, maybe let me see if I can run a business. So to run a business, you need infrastructure. You need server, you need desktops, laptops started popping out. So then I was using a PC with a server. One day I received an email, it was in 2000, and said, are you tired of taking backup of your data? I was using ACT database. So when I received the email, I don't have to take a backup anymore. And Salesforce said, okay, I will give you 5 users for free for 1 year. So that's how I signed up with Salesforce.com.
So you were using the ACT Salesforce system?
No, it was actually Salesforce.
Okay.
But I had to replace the ACT database.
ACT, right, exactly.
Right, with the Salesforce,
Okay.
because one, it is on the cloud. I did not know what the cloud was.
Okay.
Only thing, what motivated me was not to do the backup on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So put the data in there.
Let
and
them
then
worry about it.
Yes. That's
Okay.
how I started my work with Salesforce. I was a customer. I started as a customer and basically a free customer, then started slowly learning about Salesforce.
All right, so that was a little slick marketing gimmick that they used to get a lot of people to put their toe in the water. But yet because again, back when it was, the focus was customer relationship management.
Right. Yes.
Managing information for sales purposes.
Right.
It was in no way trying to be a platform. It was just a solution to people that were using, in this case, either single user, because ACT was, there was a multi-user version, but not hardly. I mean, it was not an enterprise scale product. So then, what caused you to get established in the consulting business in the first place? What prompted you to start a consulting firm? And did you start that firm here in Chicago?
It was started in Chicago. There was one other founder who was part of the organization. So then, but in 2000, when I started running the business, consulting business, it was nothing to do with Salesforce, nothing to do with the cloud. We were an IT service provider. So there was, those days it was something called managed services.
Okay.
So you could manage services or the technology or the services for the clients. So I came from mainframe. I worked for IBM and some large corporations. I said maybe that's the business that I wanted to be.
Okay.
So the Salesforce was primarily my activity tracking, customer tracking, leads, accounts, and contact, some basic reporting. That's how I started.
Okay, so really internal use.
It was internal
for
use.
managing your team. And how many consultants did you have in the early days?
We started with obviously one.
Okay.
That was, and then we slowly went into several consultants. And then we have seen 2 downturns, 2001, 2003, and then 2007, of course, the major economy hit. So we moved from traditional IT to the cloud IT in around 2008. Then we thought the traditional IT, the growth is not that much, and it was not growing because people, first of all, when the 2007 hit, companies started laying off consultants.
Exactly. And the big firms, you don't have to keep upping the ante of your hardware infrastructure when your headcount is going the other direction.
Yes, exactly. And there are a lot of unused hardware and software lying around. I still don't know what they do with that. So that's so 2008 onwards, we started using the cloud, and then we said, okay, maybe the traditional IT, which is different hardware, different software, different applications, we thought it's all going to be converging into the cloud. So there will be a platform where you can have applications, you can homegrown applications or custom built applications along with the standard applications what Salesforce provide.
Now one of the things that customers are very concerned about, no matter who they are, be they small or large, is, well, I've built up this legacy of one environment or another. And so I've got, programs that are written in whatever the flavor of the day is, and now how do I get my old payroll or manufacturing system into this new environment? How do I convert over to what the new way is? And so this has been a great sense of consternation for many clients, that frustrate them from really adopting. So when young companies come along, we don't have any invested legacy or sunk costs in that old stuff. So they jump right on Amazon Web Services and Salesforce and every other platform that's out there. Like, hey, this is the greatest thing in the world. Pay for what you don't have.
Right.
Don't pay for what you don't have. But the old guys say, wait a minute, I pay more in maintenance costs for all that stuff. How do I get my legacy stuff? How do people really bring their legacy environment into this new world?
It's a good question, and eventually all the companies it's called legacy. One day it will retire. So one day. We don't know when. So how those companies having legacy system, how are they converting into the cloud? It's a slow process. It is not going to be overnight. But companies, major corporations are looking into it. If you look at Salesforce, specifically I come from a Salesforce.com background. Salesforce.com I look at as like an iPhone. You have a phone which has a basic functionality, but there is an ecosystem built around. So that's what Salesforce is doing. There is an ecosystem which is phenomenal, which is not just the basic small applications. There are companies building large enterprise ERP systems in Salesforce.
Now, Charlie, this is really phenomenal because, again, here's a company that started with just this idea wasn't that big when, even though the guy's ego is pretty big, he's always claims to discover the future of life. But nonetheless, when Salesforce.com started, it was only trying to be a CRM system. Now it's become a veritable platform, seemingly overnight. Is this something that you say you had a background with Mac? You weren't really a coder by background, and now you educate people and help people get certified in this whole environment. Is it easy for people? In fact, I asked you the other day, why would somebody want to become certified in the Salesforce environment?
Well, the two base certifications, one is an admin and the other is developer. The admin certification is for people who are going to be BAs, or going to be configuring Salesforce and that kind of thing, or a delegated admin. The developer certification is for people who are going to be building applications. But the beginning developer certification involves no coding. You don't have to write a stitch of coding to get certified as the beginning developer. And the idea here is that if you don't know what's already delivered by default on the Force.com platform, and the Force.com platform is where you do the coding and where you build the applications, and if you don't know everything that's built in there by default, then you come in day one and you write 60,000 lines of code, and you discover it was already there. Okay. It was already there. And so a good many of the people who are taking my class and wanting to get certified to become developers on Salesforce come with huge IT backgrounds. They're Java developers, they're .NET, they're ERP integrators, architects, and they are needing to know how to use those skills in the Salesforce world. And they take this class and get certified at the base level, and they're amazed that not a bit of code is being used at that base level. It's how do you build an application with point and click and declaratively, and at what point do you need to know how to code so that you can extend beyond that, so you can use APIs and you can integrate with SAP and with other kinds of systems.
Now, are some of these, because again, like you mentioned, ecosystem, this is kind of like the Apple Store or the App Store, where you can go up in there and these Force people have all kinds of products. Yeah. Are some of these products actually catching on? Are some of these products becoming legitimate companies in their own right in terms of their uptake?
Absolutely. And when the ecosystem started, it was smaller companies getting into the ecosystem. Now, larger companies like Adobe, I would say IBM, Informatica, all these large corporations going into the ecosystem to support Salesforce and to get to the end customers. So that's a huge shift. So it's no longer for small business or medium. It is for any business who wants to grow their business and protect their existing investment without going through this redundant system, redundant applications, hardware is lying around, upgrading your software every 2 months or 2 days, and worrying about the compiling problem, and all kinds of headaches are taken
Out
care
the
of.
window.
Right. So now it's all about people, process, and technology. So if you look at it, I come from mainframe to the client server to the cloud. So the mainframe, we didn't not even know what technology. So there was a terminal sitting in front of you. You have to hit hard to enter something. So and it gives you something. Now, when you look at the client server, you started fighting with your PCs or Macs. I would say Mac is better than PC. Right? Charlie's here, so I have to say PC is better. So when you are looking at the client server environment, now as an individual IT person, I started fighting with PCs because there was a lot of compilation errors, a lot of upgrades in terms of software. So now you're talking about the cloud. It's all about people first, worry about, keep a good process. Technology will enable you to grow the business.
Now, these things are all the rage. Many companies are struggling with folks that show up with some type of mobile device.
Right.
Whatever happened, the desktop is dead. Now it's a laptop. Now laptops are dead. Now it's a tablet. Now tablets are dead. Now it's smartphones. And these smartphones are getting as sometimes I look people, they pull out and say, like, what's that? Is that a phone? I mean, the phone is as big as a tablet. It's amazing. But people can actually get real work done, and that connects them into all of these various systems. If we look at Google as a cloud services company, and they're actually a pretty formidable cloud services company, Android is really empowered a lot of this activity. Now, here in Chicago,
right,
there have been so many people in the IT field that has been put out of work as these guys were in the traditional IT shops, and the shops got smaller and smaller and smaller, and then people lost jobs, and people became very mean about what happened to them in their IT experience. They couldn't stay around and whatever, and some people say, I don't have anything to do with technology.
Right.
But is Chicago becoming a hotbed, and are there new economic opportunities in this area of the cloud? Is this where somebody can get into the business or come back into the business and make some money and find that they have the skills and talents leveraging these assets? Is Chicago a hotbed for Salesforce?
Absolutely. It's not only for Salesforce, it's for the cloud technology. But Charlie and I have been working on the Salesforce for a long time, and we see there is a huge opportunity for individuals who lost hope in the traditional IT, who got laid off. They're trying to figure out what to do next. We strongly believe, and we practice, and we educate people, and we do a lot of volunteer work in terms of helping people to move from traditional IT to the cloud. It's not only for IT people, it's about people who want to get into the newer technology. For example, sales and marketing. If you're doing a traditional selling, traditional marketing, it doesn't work anymore. So this is all about social and partnering with media, social media. And when you look at that kind of ecosystem environment, so Salesforce is certainly a great ecosystem that somebody can develop their skill set. Chicago, I think there are so many good companies in the technology field, so that there is a great opportunity and economic development will happen around the ecosystem.
So Charlie, when you offer your Salesforce education services, are these can individuals take these courses, or is it pretty much structured around larger client engagements that you all are related to? Who comes out to take these kinds of classes to learn about?
A lot of individuals who are transitioning.
Okay.
And we do them remotely using web video technology, and
so people can even stay
in their home, in their office,
and still take a certification.
As does their instructor.
All right. Okay. All right. So it's really pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. You were talking about the phones and the iPads and so on. The what's amazing in that area is how deeply ingrained in Salesforce that whole interface is. Okay. So that if you log into Salesforce and take the everything after .com off of the URL address in your browser after you're logged in and put in 1/1.app, it takes you to exactly what you're going to see on your iPad and your iPhone. And all of your apps are automatically now available on your iPhone and your iPad, your Salesforce apps. And those apps you were mentioning, the App Exchange, which is like the iTunes store, has something like 1,800 business applications, from risk management software to platforms for running enrollment at universities, to platforms for managing alumni at universities, to on and on.
So Mark Benioff, the founder of Salesforce, really then paid attention to what was going on with Apple and the iTunes and the iPhone and all this stuff, and baked it right into his process to emulate that and offer that same type of flexibility with what he's doing.
And he let other people extend it. So instead of trying to try and figure out everything that you might need as a sales or marketing person or whatever, he let other people figure that out and focused on building a platform that they could build on top of. And it's that platform and that ecosystem that really makes it quite powerful.
Now, in terms of, we talked about how the University of Chicago was like Macintosh Central. If you were around the U of C in Hyde Park and you didn't have a Mac, something was wrong with you. It was just even a bookstore today still is a Mac computer store for all practical purposes. Is Salesforce similarly catching on in Chicago, and you find it in institutions and small businesses and nonprofits? I mean, is Chicago becoming a real hotbed for extending this technology through companies like yours? And are you able to go off and talk to corporate clients, and as soon as you tell them about your competency in this area, they want to have a conversation. They want to find out what you can do. They want to understand how you can add value to their process. Is this just as are bigger companies open and receptive to what this cloud technology can do
Absolutely.
for them?
There are a lot of, when few years ago it was all about small, medium-sized companies. Now it is large companies are leveraging the same thing what small companies can leverage. So in Chicagoland, I think there are many large corporations getting into Salesforce. So when we talk to them, we see there is an opportunity for people like us to help them to grow. And for them, the biggest challenge is finding the right people at the right time.
So when you, as a typical consulting organization, is a lot of your work where you would put a smart person on site with a client?
Right.
And so if they have some Salesforce, or what is it, Dreamforce, or whatever they call it, if they have any of this going on, they're looking for good people, and your job is to find the best people and put those people on site with the client to help them implement so there's project management, there's solutions development, there's also knowing about this ecosystem and saying, hey, we don't have to build anything. Let's find what's out there and bring it to bear on what you're trying to do in this organization.
That's right. Yeah, most of the time we are very niche consultants. We don't believe in too many people going and doing too many things. So I go to the customer side, I work with customer side, and understand the real need of their system and where are they going, what is their objective, what's their vision. So we have a company vision that it's all about helping the business to grow and at the same time protect your current investment.
Okay.
So that's how we help and that's how we focus. So we are always in the process of learning new things, understanding how other companies do it, and if we can help the clients to do the same thing, eventually the economy will get better.
Now, where can people go and find out about the certification classes you offer or the general services of the organization? Do you have a website URL that somebody can?
7 characters.
Okay.
GTR.net.
GTR. G is in George, T is in Tom, R is in Robert, .net.
That'll get you there.
GTR.net, and that will show the course offerings and the
Right.
certification programs. And you know, one of the things is that a lot of people that are looking to return to the workforce, some of these certification programs are recognized to be supported by GI benefits or continuing education benefits and things like that.
Workforce Investment Act.
Workforce Investment Act. So
Yep.
does that hold true here for this as well?
We've got an application in process with Chicago and Cook County for Workforce Investment Act, but we are bringing students from Colorado's Workforce Investment offices. They reached out to us and asked us if we would take a couple of their students, and prior to that we weren't quite aware that all existed, and so
Okay.
we're starting to
So you can
explore
do that.
further. And we said, well, if we're doing this for Colorado, what about here at home?
All right.
So we're looking at neighboring state of Michigan as well, and so on.
All right, so if any of us want to polish up our cloud skills, we should go to gtr.net and kind of see the kinds of things you guys are doing. Well, I want to thank you so much for making the time available. I'm certainly interested in the future of cloud computing, and I'm glad to know that there's a place I can go learn about it. And like a lot of people, it seems like this stuff happens overnight. You look 1 minute, it's nothing, and all of a sudden now there's a whole ecosystem of people that
It's
are developing
incredible.
these solutions. So
Yeah.
thank you guys so much. I wish you continued success in your work here in Chicago, and I hope that you can make a difference in transforming the lives of anybody who wants to be involved, because what I say about technology is it always gives you a chance to get back on the horse.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
this could be that opportunity. If you got bucked off before, you haven't missed it, it's always a new opportunity. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. My name is Bruce Montgomery. If you have any questions at all, look us up online, or always you can find Technology Access Television here to provide the best information about you, for you to how to leverage technology to make a difference in your life, in your world, in your community. My name is Bruce Montgomery. This is another edition of Technology Access Television.